Hey, Yadi. Who's here? Yeah,
This is fun to come back to.
yeah, right. Live, by the way.
Uh-oh.
Um, to what page were we supposed to be reading up to? Well,
Rereading up to.
rereading up to. I don't know. Hi, Zoe. It depends on which version you're reading. Are you like which version? It's terrifying.
Calendar. Let's see. For this conversation, it's gonna be up to page 161 in the print. It'll be. Oh, I had messed this one up. But the online is chapters 20 to 38, and the audiobook is chapters 13 to 21.
You're
Oh
up to
goodness.
8 viewers.
Huzzah! Wow.
I had a whole set of these.
Why?
I was I was gonna do some sort of activity with them at some point at school, and then around to it.
Were you reading A Clockwork Orange or something, but instead of keeping his eyes open, it's his mouth?
No, I I don't know. I thought it'd be entertaining, let's say, with advisement.
What's the name of that creature in the bottom right? Oh, wow, rude.
Uh, Retracted. Yeah. Who is that? Games. Who's games me? Mm-hmm. Cameron, you finished the book last night?
Dang!
Anything away? Don't give anything away.
Let me
Did
think.
you like the book? Right.
Man,
The creature.
man, only 5 people turned in the prediction one. That one was super easy, too.
And kind of important.
Yeah.
What is that scary? Oh, what is that scary contraption? I don't know. It's just one of these things. I forget what they're called, but you're supposed to like try to speak messages to people and have them like guess what you're trying to say because it's
Excuse me.
funny. Bless you.
Peace and blessing.
We'll turn it in, Kennedy.
Mm-mm-mm. That's pretty mean. Don't act like we all didn't see. What?
Oh, the message that got retracted.
Oh, was that the who's the monster in the corner?
Yeah,
Wow.
there was Connors. For today, which is so wrong.
Hooray!
You didn't love the book. Wow. Hi, Michaela. Good morning.
That's fair. You don't have to love it. Ugh. Maybe the more we talk about it, though, you'll grow to love it.
Oh. Michael, what are you? I'm so confused right now. Michael, hi Vivian, hi Max. Um, Michael, you are participating in Monte Cristo Monday, but you didn't even know the name of the book that we were reading. Hi Ash, Lee.
Yeah, I was very confused by your email.
Or were you talking about the book that we read before this, Romeo and Juliet? Well, that's not helpful.
Totes.
Ah.
Hey, Ashley. Hey, Max. Hey, Vivian.
I'm so excited to talk about Count of Monte Cristo. It's good. Oh my gosh, I hope you guys did the reading. I only
For
read a
real.
couple of chapters. Okay, well then why did you need to know the name if you are reading the book? Brand? Okay, 2 minutes rolling.
Word. This is going to be a fun week of stuff to do. I think everything, all the assignments and whatnot for this week are a lot of fun.
You just said fun in a same sentence. They will probably
That's fine. You don't have to believe me. We can think different things are fun. That's okay. Read to page 141. That's pretty far. Only got 20 pages left. We might spoil a couple things for you. Forgot teams existed? Word. I forgot the outside existed.
Not me. Although it's really dreary today.
Don't feel so dumb. It's all good.
Me too, Max. Spend a lot of time on my back patio. If I could, I'd be doing this chat session from there. Found a baby bunny. Hopefully you didn't mess with the baby bunny.
More covfefe. Be right back.
Okay. My dog put a hole in my volleyball. How does a dog put a hole in a volleyball? Like chewed it? You hold them. Oh my gosh. Why go outside when you can stay inside with video games? Wow. I totally read that wrong. I thought you said I'm going to have a baby. And my heart stopped.
What?
I read Sam's message wrong. It says I'm going to have baby bunnies, but I read I'm going to have a baby.
Oh, shoot.
So I had a minor. Hey, let's get rolling.
What's that?
Let's do it. Let's talk about Count of Monte Cristo. Woo, woo.
Huzzah!
Okay, so he broke out of jail.
Woo!
And then what?
So the sea is the cemetery of the Chateau d'If. But luckily, our hero has a knife and just cuts the cannonball off and swims to the top. Um, it's a very harrowing scene, right? it's still a rough sea. He doesn't want to get dragged. He swims for a long time until he lands on an island and watches a ship get destroyed on the rocks. Man, that's got to be wild. I jumped into the Mediterranean Sea when it was nice and sunny and calm, and that was hard to swim in. I can't imagine how it would be to like be in a rough sea and have to do that. That sounds exhausting.
Wow. Well,
Uh,
I want to point out that when he was in the body bag, he had taken off all of his clothes
mhm.
before he got into the body bag so that it would feel as if it was Abe Faria. And then I love the fact that he gets rescued. He's butt naked, but he has a hat.
Well, yeah, back then you had to have a hat.
Yeah, who needs clothes? You butt
Yeah,
naked, but
you never go outside without a hat.
yeah. And he's like, "Hello, thank you for saving me." And he's got a hat on his head, like, "Yay!"
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's excellent. I love how like immediately you see a new Edmund. It's not the same guy who went into prison. He went into prison young, naive, compulsively honest, like never lied. Even when talking about Danglers, he didn't like him, but he was very like upfront about how he was a great worker, how he's a great financier, and yeah. And this is a new guy. He pops out. He says, "No, I just got shipwrecked. Like I got out of a thing. That's why I grew my beard out. Like I'm not a
Oh my gosh, that whole part about his beard.
yeah."
This is where you have to like the suspension of disbelief, because like it's so ridiculous where he says, "Yeah, I made a vow to not cut my beard, and it just so happens that the day that I'm allowed to cut my beard is today."
Who'd have thunk? Wow,
Who'd
what a
have thunk it?
coinky dink.
And you're like, really though, really?
Yeah, he did get the hat from the destroyed ship, right? It just like washes up.
Yeah. So basically, he grabs a hat as like proof that he was one of the sailors from the destroyed ship,
Hmm.
so that he couldn't just say, I'm from the destroyed ship. Like he's got a hat from this boat. And so he keeps it as kind of evidence to get him onto the smuggling ship.
Yeah. Um. So he gets on the ship very quickly. He realizes that the ship that comes to save him, they're Genoese, I think,
Yeah.
from Genoa, Italy. It's just like a part of Italy, a town in Italy. Uh, and they're all smugglers. Like pirate scallywags. That's what I imagined at least. Like a bunch of rough riding sea pirates. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, I mean, that's what they are. That's what smugglers were back then, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
let's
And he
see.
just kind of tries to fit in with them right off the bat. Sam, that is totally a good point. It is scary how he was like this honest young man and then he turned into a man that can lie and people believe it. He doesn't just lie, like he lies. He has a story for his stories for his stories. But you're right, jail does change you,
Hmm.
especially when you're in solitary confinement basically for 14 years.
Yeah,
What's a count? A count is just a title.
yeah. It's usually uh, like rich people get it to prove that they're like high up. They have connections.
Yeah.
Like in this case, especially like throughout this book, I don't think it actually means anything. Like they're not the ruler of anything. They just have a title
Mhm.
that proves that they're rich.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My mom thinks this book is really weird. It is weird, and
she's not
that's why
wrong.
because I am weird.
Ah,
Count Dracula. All right, so let's get back to the story. So anyway, he gets rescued by some smugglers, which is great because that smuggling boat take him away from the jail. without him having to swim. Um, like he doesn't have to go back to Marseille where he they're going to be looking for him in Marseille because that's the nearest town. So the fact that he gets on this smuggling ship and gets to go away right off the bat works out really well for him. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
because it ends up turning out that the jail people from the jail think that he has actually perished and died in the ocean.
Yeah.
But um yeah, so let's keep going. So what else? I gotta have my book in front of me so I can go through and hit my key points.
Gotcha. One thing, like just talking about the smugglers still, like I thought it was interesting. Like I feel like it's the smugglers are generally pretty good guys. Like
Yeah.
they're nice. They save the stranger for no reason. Uh, and like you compare that to who we know of like the actual good people,
Good
like
guys are supposed to be.
right, like Vilfort, he is head police officer pretty much in that district, but we already saw how easily he'll throw that position away
And
to
how corrupt he can be.
right. It's just like a nice difference to see, I guess. Like these supposedly evil dudes who everybody sees as like evil pirates are actually pretty great.
Yeah.
It like I guess as I was reading, I was thinking of like Somali pirates, like what that movie with Tom Hanks was based on. And like you look into it and it's not necessarily that they're just pirates for fun. It's not that at all. It's other countries have come to Somalia and fished all of their fish gone, and that was like the only thing they had. So like they have to go stop them, I guess. It's weird. Just like steal a steal bread for your starving family. Is that okay?
Right. To commit a crime, but
Hmm.
for the sake of something good,
Yeah. It's just like a constant thought I had throughout this book.
right?
Hmm.
Nope.
But so they move on and or moving on, and Dantes is a really good smuggler. He fits in very well. Uh, just like he's really liked. He makes friends and kind of um, again coincidentally suspend your disbelief. They just so happen to have a big plan to smuggle a whole bunch of stuff on Monte Cristo.
Yeah, well, of course, they do it on Monte Cristo because Edmund needs a reason to go to this island. And so he suggests this uninhabited island because that's where he needs to go to find the treasure. And nobody lives there. So he's like, why don't we go there and use this as our spot for our smuggling exchange? And they're like, okay, great. But what
Awesome.
confuses some people is that when they get there, Edmund fakes an injury. He fakes an injury so that they have to leave him behind. He's like, "No, I can't be moved. Don't move me to the boat.
I
Leave me
just
here for a week."
I just need 1 week and my leg will be healed enough to.
Yeah, and I'll totally survive. Just leave me a gun.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
again,
Jacobo is like, "Yo, you're my best friend. I'll hang out with you. Like, let me stay with you."
yeah,
Like I thought he was gonna stay, and then they would like partner up, and he would be his right hand man or something. But he was just like, "No, can't do
yeah.
it later."
Now, if you watch the movie, if you watch The Count of Monte Cristo, this is one of the major things that they get wrong is that they have it that Jacobo is in on the treasure and everything else from the beginning,
Oh,
and
huh.
is not obviously the case in the book.
Gotcha. Someday I'm going to pretend to break my ribs.
Oh, okay, enjoy that.
So he goes and finds the treasure. He's super what's the word, like ingenuitive and
Ingenious.
ingenious, yeah, and like figuring out where it is and how to get there and how to move the boulders uh to get into it. Um, and then finds the treasure, and is super stoked. Um, interesting, like a point, like as I was like getting ready for this and taking notes, I came across someone in their analysis. They were talking about whether it was good or bad that he found the treasure at all, because like while he was in prison he had this plan for vengeance, and it all relied on the treasure and him getting it. And like the treasure is what instigates the whole thing. If it had all been made up, uh like he wouldn't have been able to get his revenge. He would have stayed like um
Like, would he have stayed a good guy?
right, yeah, because like revenge is like inherently evil, right? Like you want to do something bad to someone. He wouldn't have been able to do that without getting the treasure. And whether his revenge is justified or not, uh, I think we could debate that, but
And
it's just
see, I think it's a little bit different in my mind. Like, I think that even if he didn't get the treasure, he was going to get revenge.
mm,
Um, I think what would have changed that potentially for him is if Mercedes had not gotten married to Fernand. If Mercedes was still left behind and he was able to reconnect with Mercedes and like be grateful for that, I feel like it would have overcome maybe some of his hatred.
mm-hmm.
But I feel like that would have changed him. But I feel otherwise, I feel like regardless of the treasure, I think he was going to get revenge.
Hmm.
All right, Sam, you're jumping the gun. We're going to get to that in just a second.
I think
Um,
you're right. I think that's interesting to think about. Yeah. But okay, moving on. Um, where are we going? So a week later, the ship comes back. Dantes takes the uh, what, like five of the smallest diamonds, right?
yeah.
And he goes and sells them for $5,000 each, 5,000 francs. We'll just say dollars, I guess. But
Yeah, so he gets money so that he can start this part of his plan. He needs money to do recognizance, basically. Like, he needs to find out what's happened to everybody in the 14 years since he went to jail. So I need money to do that. I need money to get a boat so I can go pick up the treasure. I need money to put some things into play.
mm-hmm.
Um, and Sam, this is kind of where it comes up, where he also needs money, bless you, to
Thanks.
use as well, to use when disguising himself as other aliases to talk to characters. Um, Michael, I don't know what you're talking about, volume two. There is no volume two.
On the
Um,
online version, it's split between I think like 6 volumes.
oh, yes, you're reading the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yes, so Edmond Dantes uses that he finds and he becomes these different aliases. Um, and I don't
Or
know
does
if
he
you caught
hire them?
on to this. Huh?
Or is he hiring all these people to do his job?
What?
Never mind.
Are you trying to throw something in there to like,
Yeah.
okay,
No
I'm
worries.
lost.
Yeah. So he we he gets a bunch of money, he gets some boats, he goes and picks up the treasure, and then uh yeah, he needs to go find out the information. So um, yeah.
So he becomes alias number one, which people sometimes get confused. They're like, wait a minute, there's two people named Abe. Well, Abe is a title. So you had Abe Faria, who was in jail, who died, and then you have Abe Busone, who is an alias that that Edmond Dantes disguises himself to be so that he can get information from Cataros about what's happened to all these people over the
Hmm.
course of the last 14 years. So is he the other Abbe who talks to Cataros and the Englishman who wanted to buy the ship and the Count of Monte Cristo? Boom! Kennedy, you are correct. That's where this book gets kind of interesting and kind of weird. So Edmond Dantes takes on a bunch of personas.
Hmm.
He is no longer Edmond Dantes. Edmond Dantes, quote unquote,
Is
died.
dead.
Yeah, I mean, he, for all intents and purposes, he died when he was in jail, and so now
Hmm.
he is a different character um, in different scenarios. So, like for instance, when he goes to talk to Cataros, he um, he uses this diamond to get information, and when he wants to help out Morel, he becomes this banker. When he wants to work with Albert and Franz, he becomes the Count of Monte Cristo. All these different things, he becomes these different characters.
And when he's sending secret messages, he's just Sinbad the sailor.
Just Sinbad the sailor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh, yeah. So he goes to visit Catarus. Catarus, he owns a hotel now.
yep.
Do we know exactly how much time has passed since he got the treasure and he goes to talk to Catarus?
No, and that was something I did want to point out, and I forgot to bring it up. There is a time jump, and we can't quite, based off the information that is given in the story, it doesn't tell us how much time jumps between when he gets the treasure and then when he shows up as Abe Busone. You can
Hmm.
kind of figure it out later on in the story, but as of right now, we don't really know.
Gotcha. But it's some amount of time.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so 14 years since he got arrested, and now it's some amount of time. Theo says it's like 7 years. I mean, that doesn't sound unreasonable. Yeah. So he is talking to Catarus. Catarus owns this crappy hotel, him and his wife. And Abbe Busone goes and talks to him, and he says, I gave Edmond Dantes his last rites while he was in prison. And he says he found this huge diamond while he was in prison, and he wanted to split it up between the five people who ever loved him. And those five people are his dad, Mercedes, Catarus, Danglers, and Fernand. And like what the diamond's worth like 50,000 francs, so that's a 10,000 each. That's a pretty good sum. Uh, and Catarus figures out pretty quickly like, hey, I can rat everybody else out and take this whole diamond for myself.
yeah, because they don't deserve it anyway.
Right.
They're the reason why Edmund was in jail, and he puts it all out there
And
and
his
puts.
dad's dead and Mercedes is married, so like
Mm-hmm.
so he tells him what the whole plan was, and he seems very very sorry about his part in it. I think he says like, oh, I was drunk, like I barely even knew what was going on, but I never stopped it or told anybody, and I feel so bad about that. And then we see like a glimpse of the old Dantes, who is very forgiving, and he forgives him. He's like, oh yeah, Catarus, his remorse is real. I will forgive him. I'll give him the whole diamond. He's actually a good dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, shoot, I
Sorry.
lost my
Reading.
no.
Yeah, I keep reading the comments and then I lose my train of thought.
Yeah. Uh, no, I think it was definitely longer than 6 to 8 months. But I mean, maybe it is.
Well, I have a
23.
timeline here and
Oh,
I'm
word.
trying to listen to you as well as look at this timeline and then also figure out what the actual question was. So
Gotcha.
how much time passes between what and what? From
Between,
Morel to Albert and okay,
well,
so
what about from when he gets the treasure to when he goes to talk to Catarus?
okay, well, you find out later on in the book that the Bertucci or not Bertuccio, Cataros and Busone have their conversation on June 3rd, 1829.
Okay. So,
So
oh, okay.
so it's not that much time from when he gets the treasure to when he goes to see Cataros. It's only a matter of a couple of months. It
Gotcha.
goes from February to June.
Hmm.
Now, keep in mind, okay, so he escapes from jail on February 28th. He spends 3 months on the smuggler ship. So that takes him to March, April, May. And then he only spends about a month tracking down Cataros.
Gotcha. Huh.
So, but then there's a huge jump in time from when he goes and talks to
Catarus.
Cataros all the way to when he meets Albert.
Mm-hmm.
When they go from 18 June 3rd, 1829 all the way to the year 1838.
Gotcha. So this is not okay, cool.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So yeah, Sam, you were right. My bad.
So it just depends on what you're looking at, like from when to when. It depends on which events you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, sweet.
Uh,
Yeah. June 2nd's my birthday. That's nuts.
oh, nice. Happy early birthday.
Oh,
Hopefully we'll be
thanks.
out of quarantine by then.
Shoot. All right, so what after that he gives Catarus the diamond. Uh yeah, and that's about it. He leaves. That's all we hear about Catarus for now. Um and then the next thing we see is the representative from Thompson and French. He is in he's not in Marseille. He's like in the right?
No, I
He's
think he was in Marseille.
oh word.
I'm pretty sure he was in Marseille because he's getting information about Morel, and that's
Right.
where the boat shipping company is based out of.
You're right. You're right. Yeah, I got confused about something else. So yeah, he goes to as this representative of Thompson and French. He goes to check out Morel's like books, like his money. Um, so what he does, he buys up. He hears that Morel's company is going downhill, that they're losing ships. The only ship they have left is the Pharaon. Uh, and nobody wants to he owes a lot of people a lot of money, his investors, he owes a lot of money, and in order to like save his company, the representative from Thompson and French just buys up all of the shares that he can at full price.
So basically, he takes all
Mm-hmm.
these IOUs that different people had. Like Morel had borrowed money from, like, borrowed 55,000 francs from this guy, and borrowed 32,500 francs from this guy, and 200,000 francs from this person, and the clerk from Thompson and French, who is Edmond Dantes, goes and buys up all these things so that basically he's consolidated all of the debt, and now the total mass amount of the debt is still the exact same. It's just he doesn't owe it to three different people. He owes it to just one person.
Who we know is Edmund, who is gonna do his best to help Morel out,
Yes.
right? As far as
Yeah,
we know. Yeah.
as far as we know. But
Yeah.
that's if you caught on that the clerk was Edmond Dantes.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, it's a little bit different if you realize that the clerk is Edmond Dantes and in disguise, and that he's trying to be helpful. Remember, he feels like he is supposed to be rewarding good and punishing evil. He feels like he's a representative of God, and he talks about it in the book. He talks about how he feels he's a representative of God and he is doling out rewards and punishments.
Mm-hmm.
So Morrell deserves a reward because Morrell helped try to fight for his freedom and always did right by him.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That how hard Morel tried to get Dantes out of trouble, just like vouching for his character. He was, oh no, he would never do that. He's such a great guy. All that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, while he's there, he wants to look up the prison records of Abe Faria to see why he got sent to jail, to just get information about him as well as himself. And I don't know if he was trying to, I guess, but he finds information about Villefort, right? Or maybe he was trying to,
Mm-hmm. Does he find
right?
out information about Villefort there?
Well, at least like that he um like did his best to keep him in jail the whole time. He never.
Oh, yeah, because what he finds out when he goes and looks up the prison records, he finds the prison records for Abbe Busson or Abbe Faria, but he also finds the prison records for Edmond Dantes for himself. And when he finds the records for himself, he finds the letter that was sent saying this guy's guilty. He finds all this evidence. What he doesn't find is any mention of the name Nortier.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when he's like, Villefort totally left this in detail out on purpose.
Yeah.
Villefort set me up. Well, he didn't set me up, but he let me fall for a crime that I didn't deserve to fall for.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and he did it on purpose.
Yes, and that is when Villefort is officially added to the list because now he knows that he did his very best to keep him in trouble.
Yeah.
Um, and then after that, we jump to Italy, right? Or am I missing something?
No, I think you're jumping too far.
Oh shoot.
We don't know because we gotta go talk about Morel being
Oh
safe.
yeah, duh. Yeah, okay. So yeah, the Morels. It just does like a little close up on their little family. Maximilian is in the army. His dad is like very sad. He only has one ship left. The business is going down. He has to uh, what's it called? Um, Welch, not Welch, but like go back on his promises to pay them
Oh,
back, and he's never ever done that. He has a wife. Overall, he's like pretty rich, but his business is going down the drain.
yeah. Mr. Morel is struggling pretty bad. And he is at the point of, I would say, bankruptcy because if his boat doesn't show up and if he doesn't get the money from the goods that would be in that boat, then he's going to not be able to pay his bills
Mm-hmm.
or pay his sailors or anything else. And that's going to cause him to go into bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so the clerk shows up to have a conversation with
And
him,
he,
basically say, hey, all those IOUs, now you IOU me.
yeah, uh, yeah, and he says, he's like, yo, I'll give you an extension. Ain't no thing. It's not a big deal. Just get your boat coming in. I'll be back in a couple months to collect. I'll be back on, what is it? October 5th?
September 5th.
September,
No,
yeah.
is it September 5th?
September 5th. Yeah, that's my dad's birthday. Uh,
But he already knows he already knows, like, while they're having that initial conversation, that's when the crew from the Pharaon show up and say the boat has sunk. Penelon shows up in that initial conversation, and basically Mr. Morel is like, okay, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do now. I
Hmm.
definitely need an extension. Give me a couple months before I'm going to have the opportunity to pay you. And then the clerk goes, I'll give you 3 months. Because at this point, he doesn't have a boat. He doesn't have the cargo. He doesn't have anything. He's
Hmm.
got to figure out if there's like how he can possibly pay this. Um, but the crew does show up, and it's very important that you guys notice when the clerk leaves that day on, what was it, May? Was it May or
I think
no?
I think it's May 5th
Was it May 5th?
or maybe June 5th because it's like exactly
Oh,
three
yeah, exactly
months.
3 months. So on June 5th, when he leaves and says, okay, I'll see you in 3 months at 11 o'clock, blah, 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 there's two very important things that happen. Number one, he says something to Julie on the way out. He says, Julie, if you ever get a message from a man named Sinbad the Sailor, do whatever it says. What? It's like a teenage girl, and she's supposed to just listen to some random message from Sinbad the Sailor. A message that she does get from Sinbad the Sailor 3 months later is, go to this hotel for me.
Yeah,
Super sketchy.
you definitely.
But then
Yeah.
the other, yeah, the other thing that he does is, as he's leaving, he talks to Penelon, who is from the Pharaon, and he's like, I want to have a conversation with you. And that's kind of important because you find out 3 months later that Penelon has helped this clerk come up with an exact replica of the boat that sunk, all the way down to the cargo and everything else.
Hmm. I missed that when I read it. I didn't realize that. Like I thought like he had just bought one or something, like the exact same kind of boat. But yeah, I didn't realize that Penelon came along and was like, "Yo, this is how it all goes." That's neat.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, Penelon comes and works with Edmond Dantes to make sure that they have the boat, the exact replica, and it has all of the cargo that was in it. Because if we're talking about being in the red or being in the black, financially, if he has a boat, that means he is able to work, but he's already lost all of his cargo, which would put him in the red. So he's got to get that cargo that he can sell to put him back in the black,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Uh, yeah, I think it does. Like he needs all the stuff to be able to have made money.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So anyway, September 5th happens.
September 5th rolls around. It's not looking too good. Morel is very, very depressed and is about to kill himself.
Yes, he is.
He, yeah, he gets his whole family out of the house so they can't stop him. And Julie gets the letter from Sinbad the Sailor that says, "Go to this hotel." Um, yeah, and like it is super interesting, just like how much honor is worth to this guy. It's if he can't live with the reputation that he always pays his bills back, that he's to be trusted, he's respected, he would rather just not live. Like he doesn't mind being poor, but as long as he's respected, it's just a very um, different way the world worked, I guess.
Yeah, and a different, yeah, it's totally a different way that the world worked, um, because of the way that they viewed suicide versus how it's viewed now.
Hmm. Um, so yeah, Julie runs to the hotel. She gets a red sack, just like that one, and
She put a pouch in there.
mm-hmm. and she runs home, and it's right at 11. The guy from Thompson and French shows up, and they just barely save their father from pulling the trigger.
Yep. So in the red silk pouch, you have all of these IOUs, and they're now marked as paid. So that means he doesn't owe money. All of these are basically done. These are bills. This isn't cash. He didn't get a bunch of cash in that red silk pouch. He got bills marked paid. Then he also received a diamond, a pretty considerable sized diamond
Is that real?
that, yeah, because teaching if this was real. Um, Gets a considerable sized diamond that is marked as, or it's earmarked to supposed to be Julie's dowry.
Which is a like back in the day, if you wanted to get married, you had to if you're if you had a daughter, you had to pay the the her
The
husband's
family.
family to be able to marry them.
Yeah. It's like, hey, take this financial responsibility, which is my daughter. And since you're taking her and you have to clothe her and feed her and stuff, here's some money to go with her.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is accurate to 150 years ago. So just like even 150 years ago, women were considered property. It's ridiculous. But okay, so the Morel company is saved. Um, they what? I'm sorry. It's saved financially, but they still don't have a ship. But all of a sudden, they look outside and they just see the Pharaon, which they know has sunk, just cruising into port, ready to unload all their cargo. And Penelon's on it, right?
Yeah,
He's just,
Penelon and the original crew are all on there. It's as if the last 3 months never happened.
yep.
And so they're saved. So Morel's company is able to continue on. Number one, he doesn't owe all of that money. Number two, he still has a boat. Number three, he can marry his daughter to Emmanuel Herbeau, who is a very loyal um, employee.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, he's able to do all these things that he wasn't able to do prior to 11 a.m. on September 5th. Now, what really is the fact that they wait until exactly 11
Yeah.
a.m. to this? Like, how did they know that Morel wasn't going to commit suicide at 10:45?
Well, they didn't even know he was like that. There's no way Dantes could have known that. Like,
No, it's one of those smile and nod things.
yeah. And it's like, I guess, oh, man, I need to keep this in mind when we get to the end, when we get closer to the end. Just this scene. But yeah, yeah. Because I think it
Yeah,
is
it mer-
relevant.
yeah.
Okay, so after that, the Morel company is saved. Everybody's great, happy, and fine. Uh, and now is when we skip to Italy, right?
Yes. So right as the Morel company is done being saved on page 131 in this book, there is this little part where Edmond Dantes is on the yacht and he's sailing away. He's on his own yacht, not the Pharaon. He's on his own yacht and he's sailing away from the Morels, and he says, "Farewell to kindness, humanity. Farewell to all sentiments that gladden the heart. I have substituted myself for Providence in rewarding good. May the God of vengeance now yield me his place to punish the wicked." Uh, so we are changing directions. We went from let's reward all the good people because there weren't that many good people to reward, and
Get
now
the quick stuff done
rest,
first.
yeah, let's spend the rest of the book punishing the wicked. And jump, oh, how many did I say? At least 9 years.
least 9 years.
At least 9 years. There's 9 years of planning and preparation and all this stuff that goes into what is going to take place over the course of the remainder of the book. And we jump to Italy.
Oh man, Italy. This part, when I first started it, I was like, man, this is annoying. Like, I have no idea who these people are or anything,
Right?
and like, what is going on? Uh, Mercedes wasn't evil. Yeah, but she wasn't good either
Well, in
to
Edmond
him.
Dantes, in Edmund's mind, Mercedes was evil because she didn't wait for him. She was supposed to love him forever. That was what she said she would do, that she would
Hmm.
wait, like, for as long as she lived, she would always love Edmund. And she didn't. She ended up being with Renan. So in his mind, that was evil. I'm not saying it's accurate because at what point does she, like, I think she should be allowed to move on.
Hmm.
But to him, it's a betrayal. Yeah, Michael, it's a betrayal.
I think an important thing to keep in mind during this whole book as we continue reading, knowing that he's out for revenge, is just like something. Who is he to do all of this stuff? Like,
Yeah.
people do bad stuff all the time. Does that mean they should be like punished for it? I guess like
Who decides what's good and what's bad?
that. Yeah, who decides what's good and what's bad? Like, that's why we have laws and stuff which are fallible, but so are people. Yeah, she promised to always love him. She broke that promise. Yeah, you're not wrong, Kennedy.
So, anyway, so now we start the revenge part of the book. And we have a new alias. The new alias is the Count of Monte Cristo. And the Count of Monte Cristo is the coolest guy ever.
Hmm. He knows everything. He can do anything.
He has everything that anybody could ever want. He is just like that guy.
Hmm. And yeah, so we're in a hotel in Italy with these two kids. I don't think it tells you exactly how old they are right away, but they're like 18, 19 years old. That is Franz.
They don't ever tell you.
Oh, word. There is Franz Depine and Albert de Morcerf. Uh, and they're just on vacation in Italy. They're there to party. There's a carnival happening. I imagined like the Brazil Mardi Gras parade, Carnival. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it was exactly like that, but that was in my
No, but
head.
that's what it is supposed to be representative of, because they talk about how, like, Tuesday's the big day for the celebration, which is Fat Tuesday now. I mean, it's the day, yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, it is that big of an event. It's Mardi Gras.
Hmm. And so a couple days before that, they're in the hotel. They hear about this rich guy, Monte Cristo, and he buys them a carriage to get around because he had bought all the carriages.
Yeah,
This was kind of confusing to me of just like, so Monte Cristo had bought all of the carriages, and
just
then
in case he needed them.
just in case he needed, yeah, like rich people could do all the things they want. It doesn't matter.
It's just like people stockpiling the toilet paper.
You're right.
He buys too much of it because he wants to make sure that no matter what, he's got what he needs.
Yep.
But he also did it on purpose. He
Hmm.
wanted to make sure that Albert and Franz
Needed
had to
him.
come to him for this item. Like, he needed a reason to be introduced to them.
Hmm.
And the carriage is the reason why they get introduced.
Yeah. So it's super manipulative. Like, it's psychopathic manipulation.
Right?
But yeah, so but it works. They end up hanging out. They become pretty good buds. Franz the whole time is kind of weirded out.
Yeah,
He's like, dude, I don't get good vibes from this guy. He's weird. Like,
yeah.
why is he doing all of this? Why does he just have all of the carriages? Like, this seems like I think he picks up on it being super contrived and like made up for the sake of.
Um, yeah, no, I agree. I think Franz totally is like, this is not normal.
Hmm.
Now, okay, Sam, I was just going to say this. Albert. Did anybody catch Albert's last name? Albert Morcerf. Albert is the son of Mercedes and Fernand.
What?
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 So here's the thing. If you want to get revenge on somebody, you need to get close to them. You need to get close to them. So how do you get close to them? In this instance, you save their son's life.
So yeah, that's what happens. They go to the carnival, and Albert gets abducted. He's trying to go hang out with some pretty girls, and they just kidnap him and put him in a cage uh, at a guy named Luigi Vampa's cave, his hideout, the Saint Sebastian cave.
Yep, his gang's place.
Yeah. And it turns out, oh my gosh, what a coinky dinker. Luigi Vampa knows the Count of Monte Cristo. They've been friends for like 10 years. He helped
Huh.
him out when Luigi was a kid. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody. The slogan of this book is, to me, everything happens for a reason. There are no coincidences. It
Hmm.
might seem coincidental, it's not, because
Someone's always in
everything,
control.
yes, everything happens for a reason. For instance, when they're talking about the public executions that they go to watch, if you caught this,
Forgot about
Monte
that.
Cristo knew that there were supposed to be two people that were supposed to be killed publicly. And he's like, well, one of them is not going to be killed. I know this. I just know it for a fact.
Yeah, I called my guy, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, only that guy that was saved, that was supposed to die, that didn't die, his name is
Oh, what's his
Peppino.
name?
Peppino.
Yeah,
And when it
Pepino. And he,
when it comes
sorry.
time to save Albert, Peppino is the one that helps Monte Cristo save Albert. And
Yes.
and it turns out that Monte Cristo, yep, there are all these connections. Turns out that Monte Cristo is the one who bought Peppino's freedom.
Yep. So now Luigi Vampa owes Monte Cristo a favor, and they're homies anyway. But
Yeah. So you have all of these connections, all of these things where things are interceding and intersecting, and it all happens for a reason, because Edmund wants to go to Paris and he wants to meet his enemies again and get revenge on his enemies. But he can't just walk up, move to town, and be like, yo, 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 here I am.
hmm
He needs a good way of introducing himself to these families, and basically by saving Albert, sorry, I always say it like French in the way they do in the movie.
hmm
By saving Albert, um, it gives him the opportunity to get close to Franz, not Franz, Fernand, and Mercedes. And those are two people he wants to get revenge on.
and they're like high class Parisian aristocrats now. So just in getting in good with Mercedes and Fernand, he automatically gets in with the rest of uh like the elites of Paris, which
Yeah,
include Villefort and all the other people.
Exactly. It's like you need those connections in order to make in order to even get an in or a possibility of getting into the social elite. You
Yeah.
need that.
It's like a letter of recommendation. Like
Yep.
to get a good job, you need someone to vouch for you to say like, oh no, this person works really hard. They're great. Like after this, I'm gonna ask Miss Connors for a letter of recommendation, and she'll hopefully put some good stuff in there so that I can get a job.
There you go. Um, yeah, so all of this is part of a setup. Everything happens for a reason. And that reason right now, the whole fake kidnapping and all of that is so that Monte Cristo, who is Edmond Dantes, can go to Paris and get in good with the proper members of society so that he can get close to them and get his revenge on Villefort, on Danglars, on Fernand, on Mercedes, because that's what he
Hmm.
wants.
Yep.
So
Um.
in the next reading assignment, you're going to jump from Italy to Paris,
Hmm.
and that's when things start together.
That's when this really becomes a soap opera.
Yes.
Is the Real Housewives of 19th century Paris.
Yep. So does he not get revenge on Cataros?
Oh no, he gave him the big diamond,
Yeah.
and that's the end of it as far as he knows, I think.
Well, and if you think back to the original story, was Cataros as guilty as the rest of was Cataros as guilty as Fernand and Danglars?
I forget what Cataris even did. I think he just like suggested it, maybe.
He was just drunk in there.
Yeah, yeah, and didn't um what's the word, like tell on the other two, saying it was all fake.
Can't tell you the answer to that, Sam.
Um, yeah, I mean, and like I think Dantes forgave Catarus, and that's why he gave him the whole diamond. He was like, "Oh, he's really sorry. Like, I'm not gonna destroy this dude's entire life."
And does he really care about the diamond? That's just money to him. And
Hmm.
money is just a thing. What
And
he
he has all of it.
and he has tons of money. So he doesn't care about this $50,000 diamond because what he cares about is revenge.
Um, yeah, and that's where this section ends, right?
Yeah.
Like they say they are gonna meet up in Paris. They're gonna like have lunch or something in Paris once he gets there. Uh, yeah. Is there anything else? Did we miss anything, fam? Dantes is basically Scrooge McDuck. Facts.
Lizette is here. Um, it's interesting because if you did the predictions worksheet, most people would not have predicted that Fernand and Mercedes would have gotten together and gotten married. Most people would not have predicted that they would have had a kid.
Actually, a lot of people thought that Fernand and Mercedes would get married.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, well, I only got like five of them, but at least three said something along the lines of like, Fernand wears her down and they get married.
Okay.
They nobody guessed that they would be like rich aristocrats. I don't
Nobody
believe.
did.
I don't think so.
I was going to say that was my next thing. Most people
Hmm.
would not have guessed that Fernand and Mercedes, even if they did get together, would become
Rise
this
up.
like
Yeah.
super couple.
Hmm. Uh, Let me think. Who I'm gonna look at the sheet again. Who Catarus? Some people were pretty close with Catarus. Of like they just said like, yeah, uh he'll probably be okay or something like that. Um, Morel, a lot of people just said um he'll like keep running his business. And a lot of people were, I don't think. we've gotten to it yet, but they said in Vilfort's future it'll be him like even higher in lawyer world.
Well, I guess we'll find out more about Vilfort in the next reading assignment.
Hmm. Um, if y'all have any questions, anything we should go over more, start typing them in. I'm gonna talk about this week's assignment. It might be a little confusing. It's already posted up in Teams. Some people have looked at it. It's should be a lot of fun. We're gonna use Flipgrid to record. You're gonna take on the persona of one of the characters in the book. Anyone in the character. Hopefully, I think you should pick one that we meet in this upcoming section because we're about to meet the all the elite people in Paris society that Dantes does not appreciate very much. Uh, so there's going to be a lot of drama. It's almost like a soap opera or crazy reality show. So for this one, I want you to, yeah, become one of these characters and get in the confession booth, like in a reality show, and just speak your mind for a minute and a half, um, and then reply to someone else still in character. It should be a lot of fun. I think it'll be really cool to see. I'll be recording mine here today or tomorrow.
Who are you going to be? Do you know?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet.
I gotta scan back through the section and be someone cool. Data.
So, what do we want them to talk about when they do this on Flipgrid?
Um,
That's
I
what
wrote
this question
that.
is.
Yeah. So in the assignment, there are 8 questions I'd like you to answer. Um, you pick an event that happens at all, uh, and like you describe it. You go it. You say like, um, shoot, I'm trying not to give anything away. I'm gonna go back to the say we were doing this for the first section, right? It would be like maybe I'm Fernand and I go into the confession booth and I'm just like, man, Edmund's such a piece of crap. He just needs to go away. I would love it if he would just leave Mercedes alone because she's my babe and I want to marry her.
Yeah.
Something like that. 'Cause, like I have examples from the TV show Total Drama Island, which is just like a cartoon reality show. You can check that out, and you can also like find some more.
Well, yeah, it's kind of tough because we don't want to give too much away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but as you read, you're going to have things to comment on. Basically, picture yourself on a reality television show where they're always talking about everybody else. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are you going to say about other people or about your current situation or whatever?
Yeah. I think you should dress up. I think you should get into character. I think you should speak with a French accent if you can, or if try and sound like how you think your character sounds. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
I think so.
My cosplay, exactly. Yeah. Uh, the yeah, you have to use Flipgrid. That's the way to turn it in. There's a tab on the team, the Honors English 2, called Flipgrid. It should take you right to the channel to upload it.
Yeah. If you have problems, let us know and we can kind of talk you through that.
Mm-hmm.
Send an email, um, and we can help you through that.
Totally.
Okay, what else?
What? Oh, I am going to be talking with Aaron Menzel, the writer, the author of that short story, The Dog Catcher. Uh, it's not going to be live streamed. It's just gonna be me and Aaron talking. But if you have any questions, I'm gonna call him at about 2 p.m. So if you have any questions you want me to ask him, post them to the team under post. You can. It's just like Facebook. You can throw up posts and comments and stuff. Um, and I also put up this week's short story. It's a really cool one. I really like it. I hope you guys too. It's a lot about like dystopias, like the Hunger Games and Divergent and stuff. Should be pretty interesting.
And it's very short.
And it's very short.
Okay. So, not to change the subject, but to answer the question that Charlie asked and Kennedy is asking now about laptops. I don't 100% have the answer to that. They are still checked out to you, kind of like your textbook is checked out to you. And so, until we know more information, it is just your responsibility to keep it. You may have to check it back in or have it looked over at the beginning of next year. If you switch schools, I don't know. Like, there's just a ton of different I don't knows, because I don't know, and nobody knows, and we weren't anticipating this. So, for the time being, just keep your laptop. It is checked out to you and only you. Does that make sense?
I'm sure something will be coming out from the district and the school about that.
Well, it's probably going to come out from the school because not everybody in the district has their own laptop.
Word.
So every school kind of did it a little bit differently. So I think the people who make the decisions for North will be trying to decide that over the course of the next couple weeks. Bye, Michael.
Later. And you talked about the grades and stuff in a previous video.
Yep, I did.
Word. So check that one if you have any questions about your grades and grading and stuff. The stuff we're doing online now, it doesn't affect your grade. It just it shouldn't. If it does, please let me know and I'll change it. I had changed it this morning because I had messed it up. But yeah, if you have any questions over anything, just shoot us an email, post it on Teams. It affects my mom.
It affects my mom. Oh, so your mom is concerned about the missings, even though they don't affect your grade.
Well, then do it, and you won't have missings.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, I think we are done chatting for today. And tonight's reading assignment, I don't have it sitting in front of me. Do you happen to know what?
Yes, I do. This week, oh shoot, I thought I did. I do not. I'll grab it. I'll pull it up. This week it is, I think, 161 to 241 in the print version. Oh, come on, be faster. Yep, in the print, it's pages 161 to 241. Online, it's chapters 39 to 56. On the audiobook, it is chapters 22 to 32.
Michaela, to answer your question, your grade is, if you watch the video that I posted yesterday, it will tell you that your grade is basically going to stay the same as it was when you left school for spring break, unless you do something different. So, yeah, just go watch the video that I posted yesterday. And your grade is pretty much as it is, unless you make changes to it, and you would need to contact Mr. Elster or myself to do that. All right.
Cool.
I think we've talked enough today.
I'm not going to talk anymore today.
No, me either.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Remember to floss.
Yep. Send us any questions or concerns. Bye, guys.